Welcome to I Created a Life I Love. You have Kristine and Janette with you today. We are so happy you are here with us.
Yes, and going through our journey of bravery.
Yes. Okay. April is all about bravery. We've been having some wonderful conversations on what is bravery, how to be brave, facing your fears. We talked last time about boundaries, an area I am not good at, full on saying it right now. And Jeanette was giving us a course, yeah, last time and some recommendations, and it was very good. I learned a ton. So that's always good. And so we are back today. To our topic is overcoming fear of failure and building that resistance. So that's definitely a part of bravery is learning how to fail. And both of us are educators, and we have been trained hours and hours on training on how to work with students, and how to help them deal with failure, how to face their fears when they're tackling a subject they don't know, the best way to handle it when they do fail or they're struggling. And so we're going to talk about how we apply that in our lives and how you can too. But first of all, let's head right into what's up. What's up, Jeanette?
All right. So for me, I had a birthday. I recently, yeah, celebrated my birthday in Vegas for the first time. And I am not gonna lie, I had the birthday blues because I missed everybody.
Oh,
And yeah, I missed everybody and I felt like a little kid and I was like, oh, nobody's here to celebrate my birthday.
oh.
But
Well, because
on a
it's hard,
brighter
right? You moved from all your friends, so everyone
Mhm.
understands. For those that are just maybe tuning in, Jeanette has just changed states and moved. So she is in a new house with her husband, but friends and family are all states away.
Yeah, it's, most of my family is in California. So I was definitely a little sad, but to change my frown, back to a smiley face, I went and collected all my free birthday freebies. And so I got my free Starbucks drink. I got my free cake from Cheesecake Factory. I got, a bunch of different freebies. If you're interested in those freebies, you have to sign up for a rewards plan prior to getting those. So that if you're interested and you like free things like me, that's something you should do. And that put a big smile on my face.
That's so funny. I always heard about all these things that you can do, right? And I've
Yeah,
never, I think I've maybe done one thing or two things like the Starbucks drink, or maybe like, doesn't what's the donut place? Krispy Kreme, right? Doesn't
Krispy
Krispy
Kreme.
Kreme do something too?
I think so. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So I think I've done one or two things, but other than that, I don't do it. But the cheese, I didn't realize the Cheesecake Factory, it's a full piece of cheesecake.
Oh, so good. Yeah.
Yes, that I would be all over. I'm not doing sugar. I'm not doing a lot of things, now in my health state that I am in, the state of health I am in. So, but I would, for my birthday, that cheesecake would be the exception for sure.
Yeah. 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 So, yeah, I was able to celebrate my birthday with all those freebies and my husband, and we went to a really nice restaurant on the strip. So that was pretty.
Very cool. I'm glad you had a great dinner. I'm glad you had somewhat of a good birthday.
Yeah.
Uh, I was not very good as a friend at all with me going through all of my stuff. But as everyone knows, I have been going through my journey of cancer, and I have just recently finished what had a number of procedures, had a number of surgeries, and I just had my third surgery. And a little over a week ago. And so I am recovering from that still, and we had some complications. We're still a little concerned about infection, and there's some complications happening right now, which I won't go into all the details about. But yeah, I'm very happy. I'm upright at the moment. And
Yeah.
as Jeanette and I were discussing, I will be down the second we say goodbye to you guys. I'm just going to go right that way. But this was a good thing to look forward to and something fun for me to do. I'm not pushing myself too hard. It's fun to, when you've been doing nothing but laying around trying to recover and feel better, and you've been feeling very, very crappy. It's fun to have something, that you're looking forward to do and keeping you motivated and happy. And so that was this for me, and everyone's good wishes and all the good stuff. So I have had such a great support system, and so many people texting and calling and sending me good vibes. So I'm very, very lucky, and I'm very, very grateful, and I'm getting stronger every day. Sometimes it feels like you take two steps forward and then that step backwards. And then it's definitely this journey, I will say, is not in any way a straight line. And it's not in any way, a clear path of how you're going to heal and feel and get better. And something that you thought wasn't going to hit you hard hits you really hard. And something that you thought, you know, um, was going to hit you hard, you sail through maybe, or you do it, it wasn't as bad as you thought. So it's definitely unpredictable and keeping me on my toes. But I am finding all the joy that I can in every moment, which is how this whole thing even started. So I was going to create a life that I absolutely loved and was full of joy, and within what, I think, Jeanette, it was 3 months, 4 months in after me saying that and saying I was starting on this journey, I was diagnosed with cancer. So that, for me, my choice with it, and everyone goes on a different journey and has a very different diagnosis. We're all living very different lives for a reason. But for me, I decided that that was definitely something happening for me, not just to me, and that I was going to embrace it, and it was going to become part of my journey to joy. And so, one of the things that I've been doing is when I've been going into the hospital for all of these surgeries, I've decided that one of the things I'm going to do is make all of the nurses and the staff laugh and have fun. Like, so Jeanette knows I'm very, I don't know, sarcastic. What else would you say? My humor, like just very sarcastic, very,
Super, super sarcastic.
yeah, super sarcastic. I don't take too many things seriously in this world. I feel that laughter and joy at yourself and everything around you is extremely important. And it always is a way for me to get through things and to connect with people, right? When you are laughing with someone who you barely know and you see something funny, you find something funny, it's a connection, and it's just really great. So I have had some amazing experiences. I should show you, although I look horrid in the picture. I'll see if I'm brave enough. Well, okay, bravery this month. I'll see if I'm brave enough to show it by next week. But I do have a picture of me in the oxygen chamber, and one of the nurses making a face at me through the oxygen chamber, and I am just roaring laughing because I was making faces at her the whole time because we were laughing over something silly and stupid. I don't even remember what we were making fun of her laughing at, but we were just being silly. And so she turned around as she was walking away and turned back around and made a face, and I just burst out laughing. And my daughter took a picture because she was like, yeah, she's sicker than a dog. She's in a chamber and she's still like fooling around with the nurses. And that's true. It was absolutely true. So anyway, this last time my nurse was very serious and strict. Out of the surgery just came in, and she had a this was going to be this way, this was going to be this way, and that, and she kind of made a couple comments to the other nurses around her that were pretty, I don't know, not unkind. I know how much stress they're under, but it was a little biting. You know what I mean? Not as soft as or kind or patient, I guess is the word I'm looking for, that they usually are, because they usually have the patient of saints. But everyone's human. And so I was like, here we go. I'm feeling crappy. I'm just coming out of the anesthesia. I'm just getting my bearings and I'm watching this and kind of gauging how I'm feeling, how much pain there is, all this stuff. And I'm like, feeling yucky. I'm feeling bad. The last thing I felt at that moment was anything joyful or anything to laugh at, right? And I was like, okay, here you go. Here you go, girl. Right now, can you make her laugh? Can you get her day to turn around? Well, I did. And by the time we had to leave, we were waiting for the person to come to wheel me out a couple hours later as finally the anesthesia and they had wore off and they were able to release me. And the person wasn't coming and wasn't coming. And she was so kind and we had connected so much at that point. She was like, I'm going to take you downstairs myself. So, like, we're waiting for the transport people, you know what I mean, to come bring you down because they usually have, like the candy strippers, I guess is what they used to call them, but the separate people that usually volunteer and come and they just wheel you in and out. So the nurses don't have to leave their station and their floor and that whole thing where they're dealing with multiple patients. But she's like, I'm taking you. That's it. And we laughed the whole way down. And when we got to the car, my sister in law was looking at us like stunned because we were like two teenagers laughing and getting like girls like just being stupid and laughing. And we were having so much fun. And before the car pulled away, she turned and she said, just thanks. She goes, thanks for making me laugh today.
Oh,
And it was just the sweetest, nicest moment. And trust me when I tell you, I'm not always that way. And I get frustrated and angry and all that stuff too. But you've got to find ways in this world to take the stuff that's handed you and make it and own it and make it yours. And the way that I'm doing that with this cancer journey is the way it's going to be mine is I'm going to laugh my way through it all the way through. But we'll move on to our topic and get going. We've worked a lot with failure. We've been trained a lot in how to teach people to deal with failure. We've hours and hours of training that we have had in helping kids become resilient to failure. It's one of the biggest flags that tell us how a student will learn and how open you are to life and having an open mindset, a growth mindset, right? So, what are your thoughts on your personal journey with failure and resilience?
stated exactly what I was going to say. Growth mindset. That's
Nice.
huge. And that's one of the biggest things that, I would use in the classroom. I would have little phrases for the students to say because the subject area that I supported was mathematics. And for anybody, regardless of ability, students struggle with mathematics a
Yeah.
lot. And so a lot of behaviors would occur in the classroom just because of failure. And, it was their way of reacting to failing. They don't want to, show others that they couldn't succeed. They just didn't want to do the assignment. So a lot had to do with changing the frame of mind and, obviously the language that was used inside the classroom. And I had to model it a lot.
Yeah.
Um, and now that I'm outside of the classroom, I am using those same strategies on myself
Yes.
because, and even at my previous job, like I had a huge instance where I completely failed on a presentation, and it was to over, I would say, 150 principals from school sites, and it was my first presentation as an administrator. And I even had a talk from my supervisor, if you want to say, that he was a little, caught off guard from that presentation. So I was like, wow, I didn't realize how much I failed this presentation. So after that, other presentations, I would get very nervous. I had to do a lot of self talk for myself as well to get myself out of that negative mindset. Because, if I were to freeze up again, it would definitely, hurt the credibility of my team, the credibility of myself. And, I had to have, some, positive self-awareness as well, because it was just one presentation that went bad. There's we gave a ton of presentations in our
Yeah.
department, and like yearly. So another thing that helped me out is having somebody to talk to, a mentor, somebody who's been through it, somebody who's knows everything back and forth, and can provide you, some support. So that definitely helped me build the resilience, and just being able to reflect with them after, presenting, and having them watch it, or, give me some tips. That was very helpful, extremely helpful. So it's okay if you fail and you fall flat on your face, even if it's in front of 150 people. You can get through it. Yeah. If I
Yeah.
can, you can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and I think the big thing for me, I think you said the big thing for me is that growth mindset, that what I taught all my kids. And I worked with mostly um, neurodiverse students. And I think that the biggest thing that you have to do for every single person, or that every single person needs to do, sorry, is that you have to know that fear is a part of, I mean, failure is a part of success. So I
Yes.
think that's the biggest thing. The fact that people want to go through life, I think there's a couple things. So for me, the fact that people want to go through life and not have bad things happen to them, or not fail at
Mhm.
anything in their lives, or never struggle with something in their lives, or never have loss in their lives, or any of those kind of things, that's setting yourself up right there for complete disaster of your life, of everything. I don't think that's how you raise kids. I don't think that's how you be looking at life in general. Everybody has loss. Everybody has trauma, or, some type of struggle that they have gone through. There are definitely different degrees, but I don't think that's the point to sit there and compete as to who's had what, where, when. The point is, as humans, we can all have empathy and understanding for each other, that we've all been through shit. And so the bottom line of that is if we have, and if you know that, then it's just about what skill sets do I have to handle it. It's how am I going to handle it? Not if it's going to happen, but when something does happen, how do I handle it? And in fact, the people that are most successful before they start, look at, and we did this with our kids all the time, so we teach this, is that you look at what might go wrong. So let's say you give your students a project, like we would look at, okay, what are the steps you need to go from A to Z, to get from your project at zero level to get it to completed, right? You look, what steps are we taking? What tools are you going to need, etc. You should do that in life. If I'm going to start a business, what are the steps that need to be taken for me to get there? What tools am I going to need? What skills am I going to need? But also, one of the other factors that you look at is what could go wrong? What pitfalls might happen? What part of my personality might, cause a problem, right? Where am I short on skills? What skills do I need to make sure I have to deal with this as this comes, right? You look before you even start at what the pitfalls or problems could be, not because we're trying to be negative, but because problems happen. And that's why problems happen in life. So for me, all of this comes down to the fact that when you're not being realistic and you're not being real about life and how life works, we will all fail. We will all fail at things in our life. And so if your view of failure, and you never is always that it's the end, like, if I fail, I stop. If that's the conclusion you've come to, I feel so bad, like, bad for you. Like, I don't even know, like, I wanna give you a hug right now because it's that you're missing out on so, so much because where growth comes from, where cool breakthroughs come from, where learning about yourself and the sense of empowerment and accomplishment that happens when you have failed 2, 3, 4 times and you finally succeed, that feeling is incredible, and you will never, ever have that feeling in your life if you don't accept failure as the steps to success, not as the end, not as where you stop. And you're doing your children and the people around you a disservice if that's what they're seeing as well. That as soon as it gets hard, as soon as you look silly, right? As soon as it doesn't work out, okay, I'm just not good at that, right? And we learn this all the time, like what you're talking about, math. How many times have we heard a kid say, "Well, I'm just not good at that." Well, I'm just not good at art, right? I'm just not good at math. I'm just not good at writing. I'm just not good at the boxes that we put ourselves in are incredible, right? It amazes me all the time as to the way that we limit limitless potential. Like we are honestly limitless. We are limitless beings. And we as people try and take our soul, try and take our spirit and put it in tiny boxes and limit it all the time. And it's just so sad to me. Right? It's like that's the first thing that we fight with kids is we say all of that stuff in your head that your head is saying to you, all of those, statements of I'm just not good at that are all right. Not a growth mindset, right? That's all a closed mindset. And those are all sentences and all statements that can be challenged and are not real.
And let me tell you, the first semester is basically going through that and fighting those battles with the kids to help them realize that they can do things.
Yeah.
And if they can't, they will, and they don't know how to do it yet. That's the big word, the power of yet.
The
And
power of what?
so, yeah, it's definitely something that students need to hear
Yeah.
when
And
they when
people need to hear, adults need to hear, right?
yeah.
All the time. And I have failed. I cannot tell you. And I'm sure some of you are looking at the artwork that we have going on now and going, yeah, it's not pretty. It isn't. And the bottom line is I have failed at so many parts of building this company, of creating this podcast, of posting anything to social media, of putting things on Pinterest, anything, creating our t-shirts, like all the stuff that we're doing. I cannot tell you the amount of hours and time and situations I've been in where I've been laugh crying on the floor, you know what I mean, going, what in the heck did I think I was doing that I could do this? And then the other side, and then I stop myself and I flip it and I turn around and I'm like, nope, this is just my 33rd attempt. That's all. It's not my last one because I'm not stopping. But it's just attempt number 33 and it's prototype number 67, but it's not going to stop me. And that's that resilience that comes in because the bottom line is if you want something bad enough, if it means that much to you, you will persist, right? And that
Yeah,
whole saying of,
yeah.
she did persist. Like if it is something like I'll tell you any mother out there and it's something that their child has to have, or you know what I mean, and it's something that trust me, they're not stopping. Period. They're not
Oh,
stopping. But they have to put that fight and that energy into their own dreams and to themselves. And they have to be willing to have 40 attempts before you get to where you like it. And even then, you're still growing and working and trying to make it better and do more. And that's fine. Like your life should be about growing and learning. But the only time you're going to get into a problem, literally the only time I would tell my kids is when you stop, is when you quit because if you keep going, you will find a way. And guess what also happens when someone who is good at it and who is an open type of person sees someone struggling? guess what? They're going to step in and help. They're going to mentor you, as you're talking about with your mentors. When I have seen
Mhm.
on things that I've been good at, when there were new teachers coming in when I was teaching, and I would see them struggling, but they weren't giving up and they were still trying to get, to do this one thing in their classroom. And I would see that they were struggling with it and it was really hard and they weren't giving up. I would jump in and help, or I'd give them a pointer and say, you know what, I'm going to be here with you the next time you do it. Or, you know what worked for me? This, try this. It might not work for you, but maybe it will. Try it. But when people see someone working hard and continuing to try
Mhm.
at something, you gain their respect because it is not easy, right? It's not easy to struggle and to fail and to get back up, but it is
Yeah.
worthy of respect to see someone doing that, and it should be celebrated and it should be supported by other people as they're moving on their journey as well. And you will find people will come to your aid and support you. You will be surprised at the angels that will come out of the woodwork that will be there for you and help you. And I think that's what is amazing. I think the last thing I want to say of this, and I would love your thoughts, Ned, are like the biggest thing to me is worrying about what other people think, and you have to let that go. Okay. I'm in my 50s, and I'm going to tell you right now, if you're if you can start letting it go before you get to your 50s, please do it. But also the looking silly. Like people have an ego or get worried or concerned about trying something new and failing and looking silly. You know what I mean? About putting yourself out
Mhm.
there, putting yourself on a podcast, singing, writing something, publishing something, creating something, making art, doing something, right? In any way, attempting a new sport, attempting to learn a new skill, computers, AI, tech, math, and failing in front of others, taking a new class and being the worst in the class. Like people have an honest to God, legitimate fear of looking silly. And some things you can try and learn in private and fail a billion times before anyone sees you. But sometimes you got to just throw yourself out there and it's going to be public. And in today's day and age, people can be very cruel on social media. Um, we've already talked about them. Like, please don't read comments. Please don't respond to people who are jumping in your arena and critiquing you. I've made that point a million times. You shouldn't even be looking at it. You shouldn't be reading it. They're in your rear view mirror. Keep them behind you. But any advice you have or thoughts you have on getting over like looking silly and just not caring because you're after your own dream, like, right? That's your focus is your life and your dream. You don't care.
Yep, exactly. And I think that's the fun part is looking silly.
Oh, I
You
love
know,
that.
to me, I think it's definitely the fun part. Just because like it it just shows the vulnerability that you have and that you're human. It really does. And you can laugh about it. So, and it helps you get through it too. Laughter and just being silly and getting through it is all part of life.
Yeah. I will tell you, if I had been in my 40s and probably been diagnosed with cancer and in any way was doing this or doing a podcast and going out in public, looking the way I've had to look physically when I've had to go out in public, and like even now and like next to no makeup and hair not done and bandages and stuff and blah blah blah, like I wouldn't have done it. I literally wouldn't have done it. I would have been just so I and I don't think I'm a very vain person, but I just think the initial response is no one wants to see that I'm not doing it, you know what I mean? And now I'm like, I'm on my journey to create a life I love. Like I'm on my journey. Sorry, the cancer jumped on my bus while I was driving. Like I was already driving my bus. The cancer jumped on. And
Yeah.
so I'm not stopping my journey because you don't like the way my bus looks. Like, I, you know what I mean? Like that's what I keep saying to myself is you might not like the paint on my bus. You might not like the color. You might not like the style, but just close your eyes and shut up. I'll be gone. I'll be out of your hair and past you. you know, I might honk on my way by, but I'll be gone. And you can go about your life and pick on somebody else and talk about something else. but I'm not stopping my bus because you don't like the way it looks. And that has been my motto to get through a lot of this when I've had to go out in public and my daughters, they think I'm nuts anyway. But they're just like, "Oh lordy, we're going out in that?" Like, "Are you sure we need to?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going. I'm going." And so, again, I you got to give up the looking silly. You got to give up the caring what other people think. I read a amazing thing the other day about and we're going to talk about this more next week. So I guess I'll mention that now, which is next week, we're talking about being your unique self. Um, and your job is to be your completely unique self with your crazy, with your ideas, with your baggage, with all of it. That is exactly who the world needs, is exactly who you are. And so um, don't don't let anybody, push you away from trying new things because they're going to judge you, or you're going to feel like you're being judged, or you're feeling like you're silly, or you're embarrassed. That is part of it, I think, as Jeanette said so wonderfully, of facing your fear and being brave, which is our entire focus this April. So, look silly, be brave,
Yeah,
and then let us know about it. Please write in,
please.
everybody, and let us know because you're seeing my silly every week. But I'm happy. I promise. Okay, this is my promise to everyone out there. I will share, and I look ridiculous and, sick, bad, in a hospital gown, the whole 9 yards. But I will share that picture of the nurse and I being silly next week, for sure, so that you can see that.
Your moment of joy.
That's my moment of joy. How about your moment of joy?
My moment of joy is my best friend sent me flowers. And I was so happy because I
Good.
woke up all sad and all like moody and I was all walking down the stairs. And then I heard a ring and I saw flowers outside my door. I've got more flowers from my best friend than from my husband, let's just say that. So and we
As it
talked about that. But, like she's so thoughtful and she's so sweet and it just made my day.
Aw, I'm
So
so
the picture I'm showing you right now is the flowers.
So please remember to email us at I created a life I love at gmail.com and share a moment of joy that you had this week. Share some way that you are looking silly and trying something new, or, just making the best out of a situation. Anything you'd like to share with us would be amazing. Our monthly resource, what I wanted to share this week, as homework for everyone to do, um, and it'll make you feel good. And this is about as my pain level and my attention level that I can handle right now. So that tells you where I'm at. Is Meet the Robinsons. It's a Walt Disney movie. It's older. I didn't look up what year it was because Jeanette had never heard of it. So maybe it's pretty old. Um,
I think it was 2007.
Seven. Okay, so 2007. So like less than 20 years old. But anyway, Meet the Robinsons is an amazing movie about failure and invention. And so I think it fits perfectly with our theme today of overcoming the fear of failure. And they celebrate this family's, nuts, as all the different characters in their family. And it's set in the future. And I won't give away the whole story, but did they really, there's a great scene where they celebrate failure and the attempts that this inventor is, failing once again, like I was saying, like prototype 532 or whatever, and failing again. And instead of being depressed and sad and, embarrassed or feeling silly or any of these things, the whole family is actually, freaks everyone out, or freaks the visitor out, who has come to visit them, by celebrating the failure. And I would love this if I played this for my kids in school. I not the whole movie, just a like 5 minute clip or 3 minute clip of it, so they could get the idea of what I was talking about because it's so well done and it's so funny. And I just keep this with you. Keep a little clip of it. Save a clip of it. You can go online, I think, and even just see the clip. But the whole movie's great. But keep that with you. Keep those little voices in your head. If there are people around you who are not celebrating your failures or, cheering you on as you keep, persisting and demonstrate your resilience and keep going, just keep this, little clip with you that, that there are people out there, we're out here celebrating your failures and know that it's just a step towards your success. It is the path of growth, and that's why we're here, is to grow. And you don't grow without going through some shit, as I say. And then Jeanette left. But it's the best way to grow and to learn about yourself. So embrace it when you do, learn from it if you can, and definitely laugh at yourself is would be my suggestion. Alrighty, so we did put out our Monday Minute. So it is up on YouTube, our Monday Meditation Minutes, about bringing your unique self to this world. Only you can bring your ideas, all of your thoughts, your perspective to this world. Only you have been exactly on the path that you have been on. And we need to embrace and celebrate all of us and our new, unique ideas and creativity and perspectives. So take a minute and, take a couple breaths throughout the day, refocus yourself, make sure that you are keeping your intention for joy true throughout the day. And you can use our minutes to do that. All right, everybody, we will see you next time. Have a great week and go out there and create a life you love. Bye, everyone.